Innovation is all about implementing new combinations on existing product or service with the aim of enhancing it to solve problems. So, in this coming panel discussion, we will be hearing the opinions of a researcher, enabler, and inventor about innovations in the gaming industry, which has a potential to reach $252 billion globally by 2023.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We have amongst our panel Mr. Ahmed Al Ansari, um, founder of Al Ansari Studios, Mr. Dhafar Al Qahtani, founder of Bidayatek, a very innovative solution that deals with crowdfunding. And we have Diab Al Dosari, who is an entrepreneur, inventor that I'm really happy to know, and we'll be finding more about these panel members today. So, Ms. Ahmed, what can you tell us about yourself?
First of all, nice to meet you all. I'm very glad to be here. So first of all, my name, of course, is Ahmed Al Ansari. I'm a media marketing and IT consultant, as well as a graphic designer and 3D artist. I have solid understanding in holography, immersive environment, interactive systems, and I have academic background in game design and management. I'm the founder of Al Ansari Studios, co-founder of Impressco, which is an interactive media solution company which deals with like solutions such as holography, interactive systems, immersive environment, and building projections. Yeah, so this is about me.
Excellent. Mr. Dhafar, could you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Dhafar Al Qahtani. I'm the founder of a reward-based crowdfunding platform called Bidayatek, which translates to English as Your Start. It's focusing on providing funding for startups before they go to angels or to venture capital level. As a background, I was a venture capital professional and private equity operator since 2000. I was involved in technology since the dot-com until today. Now I'm taking the other side of the table. I'm helping startups to move to the next stage beside developing their projects and concepts, and hopefully it become commercial in the near future. That's in a nutshell. And gaming in general, and all the ecosystem of gaming is one of the main focus points for the platform, where we'll be able them to to create their games and launching it and develop it as they go through funding by the crowd. That's in general.
MashaAllah. Mr. Diab, could you tell us about yourself and Felix?
Hi, I come from a design engineering background, and through that, I came across a project where I developed a tactile haptic add-on to assist blind or visually impaired people navigate through environments. And that has later developed into a product whereby it attaches to smartphone applications to help communicate information when people are in an activity without needing to see or hear it. I've been involved in intellectual property since in my profession, and I've worked with startups and
founded and found this.
Amazing. So the question here is, gaming has influenced us all, and over time, we grew up with some of these devices, with some of these experiences that we've had. But we cannot deny that advancement in technology and innovation didn't. We cannot deny that advancements in technology and innovation did not play a major role in the gaming industry. So, by your own thoughts, what do you think is actually driving that innovation, and what do you think are the needs of the market? Ahmed, could you elaborate, or could you enlighten us on that point?
Yes, sure. Okay, before that, okay, I'm gonna go through a bit explaining how big is the market thus far, and I'm gonna go through explaining as well what innovation is at the first place, so we can match it with the market itself and see how we have developed through every stage of this milestone that happened thus far. So first of all, 2.5 billion of people worldwide are playing games, and the market is gonna be reaching around $256 billion in 2025. So we cannot deny how big is the market is. Okay, but before that, we need to understand what innovation is, because innovation is not only about technology. People can be innovation in different type of fields and different type of industries, and even they can be innovation in their lifestyles and behaviors. For example, like parents can be innovative with the way that they're gonna be raising their kids, and if other people learn the mechanics and the model that he have raised his kid with, and it was successful, then that's gonna be considered an innovation. Bruce Lee, for example, he's created a new type of martial arts, so he's an innovator as well. Ibn Sina is an innovator. So it's not only about technology. However, it's been associated with the technology term because of the mass adoption of technology and the trends in the last century. So from here on, okay, we need to know, okay, how the innovation itself have impacted our lives since the beginning of the gaming industry. It was in 1962 when there was a professor called Steve Russell in MIT that he invented a game called Space War. It was a very simple game. It was only like two spaceships that they have to be connected to each other. However, that led to the revolution that we have seen today. In 1970, a guy called Nolan Bushnell decided to take that in a stage later and create another space game on an arcade game, which he'd seen it as success. So he decided to create a game called Pong after that, and that was the one of the most successful and the first commercial games worldwide. Later after that, okay, the game industry had a lot of hype, and then it's been transferred into different countries like Japan in the 1970s, and then we've seen different type of consoles came out, okay, like the Odyssey, which came at the time when Nolan Bushnell was there, and after that it came the Commodore, which was supporting a lot of games as well, the Commodore 64 I meant, then the Atari consoles, then the NES, and the quality of the games were increasing. We used to have we used to end up with 2-bit colors, and then after that 4 and 16, and then we were rising over and over again. Each time we were passing within a period of a period of 3 to 4 years. In that moment, we were just encountering a new technology with a new functionality which didn't exist before. And that was reshaping people's expectation. It was giving us, literally, a new type of perspective, a new type of thinking of things, a new type of interacting with things. Without the gaming industry, we didn't have interactivity within our entertainment. We used to watch movies, animations, read comics, and that was the type of interactivity as far as the digital world led us. But after the gaming industry, we have went so far by incorporating, like even when the internet came out, okay, we have expanded the entire functionality and the characteristics of the game industry into a different level. People started playing with each other, whether it's a co-op or is a competition, or even it's like a strategy game, an MMO. So we were just progressing over and over with every trend and every technology that we're raising. And people used to get more knowledge about it. They used to interact more with different games and different genres were created. And here, okay, we see how innovation has impacted the game industry. But again, from the other side, okay, we have the concept of how the game industry have impacted innovation as well. And we're going to be going through that a bit. So we've seen a lot of different innovative ideas and innovative consoles, innovative genres, innovative game engines actually popping up and making things that were not possible before possible. And it was always like a progressive type of ingredient that we used to, for example, like cooking, where first you have few ingredients and then you will get more and you will cook something nicer and nicer until we reach to what we call it the next generation of consoles. And of course, we've seen before the Game Boy, and then been turned to Game Boy Advance, and after that the DS, and then we had the 3DS, which had the stereoscopic technology on top of that. At that time, we had the Kinect as well, which was an amazing smart device in that moment that actually it's still used in different fields right now, not the game as well. But in that time, like you could have used your gesture control and move stuff and interact with the game, which was so amazing.
This is,
and later after that, it came with.
When you look into the history of the gaming industry, you see that it went to many iterations and it utilized different technologies. You're an inventor and you invented Felix. And could you tell us about the origins of Felix and what made you think about utilizing it in the games industry?
The origins of Felix was something that I kind of came across. Now, we've all grown up with video games. I'm from the Super Mario and Sonic generation as a young boy. But I find that a lot of the skills and everything that was applicable, and the people that I work with, we pick up these skills as well. We use them, the skills that we picked up when we were younger. So the origins of this device, Felix, is actually, it was designed as a navigational tool for the visual impaired to work alongside a object recognition system to help them navigate through their environments that they can't see. However, I later realized that this could then be applied to the everyday person that wants to receive information, perhaps stocks and navigation information, alerts on different things to set. So it's an open platform that can connect to your smartphone device, and you can receive the information if you're running or if you're driving or if you're in these circumstances that do not allow you or are unsafe for you to look at your mobile phone. But what's really particularly interested me recently is the video game. It's really the creativity in there and the enthusiasts. The gaming industry really does harness young talent from an early age. And it's like the children of today. If they pick up an iPad, they'll work things out that will take, we're not old, but sometimes we need 5 minutes to or the patience to do it, where it's just instinctive nature. And the gaming industry harnesses that young talent sometimes, well, all the time, and it's a very great creative breeding ground for artists, musicians that come together, and out of it comes really creative solutions. So someone like myself that's really looking for new applications for my product will look at the gaming industry that is pioneering things like virtual reality into these more commercial applications in everyday life, like medicine, you know, the hotel industry, tourism, etc. So it's very valuable.
Oh, that's amazing. And what I always find is that innovation is costly and risky to some point, and this is where solutions that actually help people find funding, especially in the games industry, or especially with people that are starting up with something new and that has not been tried out before, require an outlet where they can be exposed and at the same time find the right target demographic, the right audience. And Dhafar, I think your solution, Bidayatic, also helps with those needs.
Absolutely. It's among other available solutions to creators or innovators. Just on the subject of innovation, maybe I'm the oldest here to witness the span of innovation and how it evolved. It was mainly addressing the capacity issue, whether it's the speed or the battery or the memory. And it goes online with the demands of the users. And capacity will always be a big concern for anybody. Right now, we can do 3D, we can do high-level animations because we have more capacity in terms of memory or speed of the process itself. So where Bidayatic fit in this game, we're hoping to be able to accelerate those issues, to take advantage of what's going on around us in terms of introduced technology. And it's introduced every day, not around the clock. There is a new technology to speed our work, to expand our work, to increase the issue of videos, for example. In the past, we were worried about how many videos can I take on my smartphone. And this is being addressed directly by the cloud. How can we move everything to the cloud? Because we can't have that many memory in the phone by itself. So back to Bidayatic. Bidayatic played the role of helping those innovators and creators and inventors and dreamers at the same time to take their ideas to the next level by using the power of the crowd. Hopefully what the crowd will come and join your campaign. When you create a campaign to fund your project, they will like what you're doing, and that's the main principle. In particular, in the gaming side, people come because they love that game and they want to be part of that game or become an early adopter of that game going forward. So the idea of Bidayatic comes around allowing you to get funding without sacrificing your shareholding or your equity, or without getting into a loan. At the same time, spread the word around, allow you to do your proof of concept, and hopefully develop loyal customers down the line, just from raising this campaign for your gaming, for your game to be produced and introduced to the public. This is really
the overview of it.
Story.
To be honest, you caught my interest when you were mentioning cloud technologies, are the way of the future. And this goes back to a conversation where we're looking into an era of needs and an era of possibilities. When the gaming industry started off, as you mentioned earlier, Ahmed, it was nothing more than a PC with simple games and moving forward. And the technologies of that time limited what could be done. We move forward a few years later and we get powerful machines, we get connected by the internet. And whenever there is a new technology being introduced, you see a boom in different sectors. Gaming is no exception. Now with the advent of cloud, and it's being, cloud is being championed by a lot of companies at the moment as the most efficient and effective way to adopt technology. There are subjects where games are already now trying to take advantage of the cloud. And Ahmed, I believe you have an interesting point behind that. So what could you tell us about leveraging cloud technologies in games and the innovative ways that they're being used at?
Before I proceed with that, let me just talk about a concept called gamification, which is the use of game mechanics in non-gaming applications. This is a way of how the game industry is affecting other industries as well. It's creating more engagement, more interactivity in those systems, and they are boosting it a lot, okay? And from the gamification area, okay, we have something else called the game-based learning, which people can learn things by utilizing games, and it's been proved that by scientists that this is much more effective than normal way of learning. So I just wanted to clear that up. Regarding the cloud base, that was a very, very interesting question because unfortunately, okay, we are somehow a late majority society. We always utilize technologies and trends in its later stage. And this is what makes us always, back in time and not adopting new technology at the same time. So there is a huge gap whenever it comes to cloud technologies. And of course, on a technology called blockchain, which I'm going to talk about it right now. Let me just give a brief example, a brief explanation of how blockchain works, so I can explain it a bit, at how the gaming industry will get benefit out of it. Blockchain is based on a technology called DLTs, distributed ledger technologies, which are exactly like the ledger that accountant has, but they are in digital format, distributed on different computers around the world in a decentralized systematic manner. So what does that mean? That means there are no center entity that can control those nodes. Every node is separate, and they are intercontinental, and they are connected to each other on top of something called it's a code. It's like a blockchain. So the blockchain is one type of the DLTs, okay, which are based on different nodes, which are called blocks, which have something called hashes, and each hash is referring to the other node, which has another hash, and those nodes are interconnected with a consensus. And people who confirm those nodes, which had data in them. They called miners. Of course, in a proof of work consensus. There is another type of consensus. We're not going to go through that now, like proof of stake and proof of authority and other one. So what makes blockchain interesting for the game industry? Okay, so to understand that, okay, there was, of course, everybody knows about Bitcoin and how famous it is. It's the first blockchain project, but it's not the only project. There are thousands and thousands of other projects on top of the blockchain, okay, which are not only about DeFi. There are security projects, there are cloud-based projects, there are gaming projects, there are insurance projects. There are many, many. So in today, we're going to be tackling the gaming project on top of the blockchain and why they are used and they are unique and what makes them one of the next gen game genres that we're gonna be using in the upcoming future. So first of all, there is a protocol called Ethereum, okay, which created something called smart contracts. The smart contracts are exactly like a contract whenever I gonna be contracting with you, with a lawyer, but without the law, and that's why it's called the smart contract. Ethereum built a set of smart contracts that people can use to interact with each other on the Ethereum blockchain. Okay, so the one that will interest us is the ERC-71 and the ERC-115, which are purely gaming smart contracts. And I'm going to explain now why they are important. Before that, we need to know and we need to understand what are the different types of digital assets on top of the blockchain. Okay, we have two types of digital assets. One of them called fungible tokens, so fungible assets, and the other one is a non-fungible assets. The fungible assets are the assets that match in their characteristics and functionality. Like all the assets are the same. Like the Bitcoin, every Bitcoin is like the other Bitcoin, exactly. Like the dollar, every one note of dollar is exactly like the other note of dollar. However, the non-fungible token are unique asset that it's based on scarcity and based on like the distinctive ownership. So what do I mean by that? For example, you can literally take an ERC-721, which can store one unique asset. That asset can be a character in a game, can be a land in a game, can be a progress, like for example in strategy games, can be a card like in Yu-Gi-Oh games. It can be anything, can be a weapon. And whenever you store that, it's going to be stored its own block in the blockchain. And people can literally, out of the boundaries of the creator of the game, they can go to something called NFT market, okay, which is the non-fungible token market, and they can trade it, they can sell it. So they literally own the entire token, okay? So this is what makes it completely different from, for example, buying things on top of, in the game of like a Fortnite. You buy skin, but you literally don't own the skin. What will happen if Fortnite goes down? You lost all of your progress, you lost all of your weapons, you lost all of your characters. In this way, you will have everything on top of the blockchain. It will stay there forever. You own it forever. And in the future, they are developing new mechanism that you might be able to transfer your own asset from one game to another. Let's say, for example, you have a character in Fortnite, you can take it and play with it in PUBG, for example. So there are many applications for NFTs. It's not only based for games. For example, we might reach to a stage that even our houses gonna be NFTs, that we can sell it on the blockchain. Even our reputation, our books, our copyrights, we can do everything as an NFT. So this technology gonna be having a huge section in the upcoming future, and it still is a junior stage. Let's consider it as the internet in 1996, okay? When nobody knew what they're gonna do with this. Still they are building the infrastructure. They are building the protocols, Not like, of course, there are 7,000 to 8,000 maybe, or maybe more applications on top of the blockchain. There are many games, by the way, and which I'm going to only mention two because of the time, but there are many games which they are tackling different kind of genres and different kind of functionalities which are unique to the blockchain. So one of the most famous games on the blockchain, it's called Axie Infinity, which it has a lot of hype right now. And the interesting part in this game, that because people who play the game, they can make money out of it. People in low development countries are making their living out of it, like in Philippines and Venezuela. So they're earning like around $300, $400, $500 per month. People doesn't have jobs and everything, and they will literally talk about it. People can Google it and look on that. In this game, you have different kind of monsters. You can raise them. You can buy a land. You can, for example, treat them, give them more weapons, add more stuff to increase their capabilities and functionalities. They have different kind of features. Every monster has a different kind of feature, different kind of set, different kind of skills, and those kind of creatures can be sold as well in NFT market. So the land itself can be sold in NFT market. They can battle and earn money. So all of that, if you can see, it literally makes a huge difference for people who used to play games before and they were not gaining their skills, they were not gaining their effort spent, they were not gaining games, what they have literally. Yeah.
So instead of having games be a form of entertainment, people can actually work to, it's no longer a waste of time. You're actually gaining assets that have value down the line. And this is, by the way, a very futuristic look into what comes next. One of the major concerns that are going on right now is that we're heading towards digitization. Physical copies are selling less, digital copies are selling more. And one of the caveats behind that is that once you own a digital copy of a game, you cannot sell it again in the market. Okay, so maybe blockchain in the future can help you sell your digital version of the game, not just only the asset itself, but also those digital purchases. Moving forward on this point, and this is where I believe we're near the end of our panel. Diab has a very interesting technology where he's basically allowing us to interact with the digital world through one of our 5 senses, okay, which is the sense of touch. And this is somehow reminiscent to the movie Ready Player One, okay. And as we know that, as we progress, technology will take us to a different area than we are at the moment. And one of my favorite TV shows that I used to watch back in the 90s was called Beyond 2000. Do you remember that TV show?
I don't remember that TV show, to be honest with you. No.
Arthur?
It's a long time ago.
Yeah. I guess it was one of those really great TV shows that shows technology, and it just showed you things that you need to expect to be a normal part of life.
I think actually, you know what?
Yeah.
I think I am starting to remember it. So they would show different inventions, right, on the show. Is that right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a TV show. Yeah, I remember. I do remember it. Yeah.
And
it's like a documentary, basically.
Yes. And what I loved about it was it always introduced new things, and it showed you basically the future. It showed you what's going to happen in the automotive industry. Within 5 years, it's going to tell you what's going to happen in the airplane and the airline industry within 10 years. Back then, they were introducing you, okay, how 3D printing was going to be done back. And then you're seeing the new technologies that's a little bit different. And again, to us, innovation and innovation caters mostly to needs, but at the same time, technology enables us to progress forward. So the question here is, what do you think is going to happen in the games industry within the next 10 years? And are we going to be in a situation where we can be so immersed, like that sci-fi movie Ready Player One? You're already taking us one step closer with your invention. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I mainly work in the tech field as my profession. So I deal with intellectual property and working with startups. So, and I remember one day my boss telling me, my directing manager, saying, reading patents is like reading the future, you know, and it's a lot like the show that you were talking about is, you know, and what I'm starting to see is this greater fusion of wearables and this merger between the virtual world and the real world, both complementing each other more and more, is a direction that we're all going in. And of course, gaming is a big part of that. And I think the main thing about gaming, that, you know, why it's so exciting, is because it's fun. People do it because they enjoy doing it. And it's like anything in life, really. It's everyone's passion to have a job that they enjoy, that they find fun. If they can make their hobby their source of income, then that's the dream. So the gaming industry attracts a lot of people that are there for the passion of being there. And that in turn does produce all these new ideas, these interactions, and this really exciting cocktail soup of art and music and everything. And, you know, entrepreneurs like to look at that and see, you know, to source talent from it, and to get ideas. It's people that generate ideas and technological advancements. Sometimes it's the technology itself that takes itself into a direction. And so a lot like what Ahmed was saying about these technical elements that he was talking about, and they're applicable. They're all applicable things. And there was a need in one area, and it's taken out of there and used fantastically, for example, in the finance area with the blockchain or with data storage. So I think eventually it's all, now we're all at a generation where gaming has been a part of our lives. And if you use even the mobile phone, a lot of the design elements, the interactive elements of using it was born out of the gaming. It's fun. People want to see colors. They want to see bouncy things. And the original computer was boring. It didn't have that. And what we are now interacting with without even knowing it is user interfaces that were inspired by fun things. So the gaming industry really, in my opinion, is making technology enjoyable outside the gaming sphere. And it will always be like that from now, I think. It'll be a big part of it for, you know, for whenever there is technology, I think. So, yeah. And it's a great place for people like myself, trying to bring new products in, because in the gaming world, you can test things as well.
So you're just bringing us new toys to play with and see how we can have fun with. And
exactly.
If I may add to this, in 2004, 2005, I was in the GSM as an investor. I was representing my portfolio. And we were talking to the big hitters in the GSM time, and there was no mobile yet everywhere. And one of the visualization that time by the big boys at that time was the convergence of the laptop with the phone, with the PC. Everything is coming to one device. And at that time, we were seeing smartphones, what they're gonna look like, what kind of issues we're gonna be faced. And that takes me back again to the capacity, the memory size, the card speed, the battery life, and it was all driven by innovation. So any new innovation comes up, it takes us to the next phase. And definitely gaming was and still one of the big beneficiary of addressing capacity issues through innovation. And taking us now, we're already gonna be seeing mobiles will disappear. I mean, you will start playing with your eyeglasses as a game. You will be interactive. We will be more interactive, actually. Now we're using our fingers, but we will, in the future, I believe we will be using a lot of our senses to play games, to execute tasks without using our fingers, so to speak. So it is innovation, and in innovation open a new level, and bringing with it the new generation that will push that envelope further. And hopefully we will see more of that. As Ahmed said, we were behind. We used to be behind 15, 20 years in knowledge. Thanks God, with the internet, now the gap is getting closer and closer. Like in crowdfunding, we were behind almost 8 years. It was enabled by the internet for crowdfunding and crowdsourcing, and it started around 2009. And it just got here, and people start taking it seriously around 2012, 2013. And regulators, which is another player in the picture, they came to the picture around 2018. So it is speeding up. The gap is closing, and very soon, any technology happen anywhere in the world, it will be moving fast. Maybe the fastest one is blockchain. The topic itself, we're already in the game. We're in touch with it. We're not that much behind. Actually, we have a lot of creative ideas coming from this region. And personally, I'm very optimistic of the new generation will take a topic like blockchain to the next level, and we'll be at par with the rest of the world, hopefully.
Badnallah, inshallah. Ahmed, if you have any closing remarks on this panel.
Yeah, regarding this subject, I just wanted to mention that one of the limitations of making some of the technologies that we have, such as the VR headsets and the MR glasses, that they are not progressing that far, is that the processors and the GPUs, okay, they are not yet to that stage that will allow them to be capable to do more functionalities that they are doing thus far. Like whenever we switched, for example, from the Quest 1 to Quest 2, so they have switched to the XR2 processor, but still the headset until now, it's heavy. And again, you're not going to get quality, even a PlayStation 2 quality, but you're immersive and you have many functionalities that you didn't have before. The thing is, I believe that in the upcoming 10 years or maybe 15 years, we might reach to a stage that we can be the protagonist in the game that we play. We're not going to play the protagonist. We might be the protagonist in the game that we're going to play. And those kind of technologies, whenever they get like upgraded and reach to a certain level with, inshallah, the 5G, okay, which all of the processing and like the calculation might be happening on the cloud by transferring it with the 5G technology. So in that case, okay, the headset and the glasses doesn't need to have the processors anymore, doesn't need to have the RAMs anymore. They're gonna be working directly from the cloud. They're gonna be much lighter. There might be technologies which are even much smaller than what we think. You know, we might be playing Yu-Gi-Oh exactly like in the animation. So I believe that we might reach at that stage. Technologies are there, but we do have limitations that we have to overcome. Whenever we overcome those limitations, whether it's a hardware or it's a human capital or it's for software, we can reach to that stage as soon as we can set up the rig, you know, that it will allow us to achieve such technologies. And I'm like optimistic in this area.
Thank you very much, Ahmed, and thank you, Dhafar, and thank you, Diab. This has been an amazing panel. Honestly, it's been an enlightening thing, and I'm really happy that we got people of your caliber to join us today.